In your games, you might want certain things such as keys or gems or coins or even health or stamina to not be stored as a physical item in the world, but rather as a statistic that can be added to, subtracted, or read. In the player stats demo, we have a table of keys and a button and two stats. On the top left corner, we have keys and gems. I have it set up so when we press the button, it gives you a gem with a max of 10. And we then have some keys here that you can pick up, and those will give you the keys on the top left. Now, this door right here, I have set it up so that it is only going to unlock if we have a key, and have a look at the key stat. When I unlock the door, it goes down to 3, and we can then open the door and close it. So, how is this set up? Well, basically, a stat is represented by a scriptable object. So here in the implementation data stats folder, we have two of our stats here, gems and keys. To create a new stat, you simply right click, go create, and you can then go down to exploration toolkit, stats, and choose to create either a float stat or an int stat, okay? A float stat might be good for something like stamina or a bar that you gradually want to go up and down, like health, for example. But most stats are probably going to be ints, so here we have gems and keys. For each of them, you basically define an icon, which is what gets rendered, as well as a start value. So, for example, you probably want to start at 0 most of the time, but certain things you might want to give the player some to start off with. Then you have a min value and a max value. Now, with stats, we can add and decrease those. So, for example, here, when we are pressing the button, so if I select the button, go to the inspector, and if I go to the interactable component and open up events, you'll see here when the button is pressed, it's basically telling the component to press the button and animate it. And it's also increasing the stat. So here I'm simply dragging in the stat scriptable object. And then if we go over to int stat, you can see we have 3 different functions: decrease with an integer amount, increase with an integer amount, and reset value, okay? And those do pretty much what they say. So here we are increasing the stat by 1. We could set this to be 2 or 3 or so on. And that is how we can modify stats. And of course, you could do this in script as well. And the way they are being displayed on screen, if we go over to our stats canvas and have a look at keys, for example, let's go to the 2D mode here. Essentially, what we're doing here is we have a empty game object with an icon and a value text, and we have a stat UI script attached to it. Basically, we just give it a stat here for keys, and it, at the start of the game, is going to assign the icon, and every time the stat is updated, it does that through an event, the text here will be updated as well. And you can also connect to the stats on changed value event whenever you want, even in another script. So for example, if you want to play a sound effect when the player gets +1 keys, you can set that up by simply connecting to the scriptable objects event.